The Price of Perfect Love. Part 1, The Golden Cage. The Perfect Life. Isabelle Laurent stood in the center of her art gallery, watching the evening sunlight paint golden streaks across the polished marble floor. From the outside, her life looked like a masterpiece. At 32 years old, she owned the most prestigious gallery in Paris, lived in a penthouse overlooking the Seine, and was married to Marcus Bellamy, one of the wealthiest entrepreneurs in Europe. But perfection, Isabelle had learned, was just another word for prison. She adjusted the frame of a new photograph, a stunning black and white image of a bird trapped in golden wire. The photographer, Adrien Moreau, had titled it Beautiful Captivity. Isabelle stared at it, feeling something twist in her chest. The bird's eye seemed to look directly at her, seeing something she tried desperately to hide. Mrs. Bellamy? Her assistant, Sophie, approached carefully. Sophie always moved carefully around her, like Isabelle was made of glass. Your husband called. He wants you home by 6 for dinner. Isabelle glanced at her watch. It was 5:15. Tell him I'll be there. Sophie hesitated. He sounded upset that you didn't answer your phone. Isabelle's hand moved instinctively to her purse. 3 missed calls from Marcus. Her stomach tightened. Thank you, Sophie. You can close up tonight. The man behind the mask. The penthouse was silent when Isabelle entered, but she knew Marcus was home. She could feel him watching. She had started feeling that months ago, the constant sensation of eyes on her skin, even when she was alone. Isabelle. Marcus's voice came from the living room. Smooth, controlled, with an edge that made her shoulders tense. You're late. I'm sorry. I was working on the new exhibition. She set her purse down, forcing a smile as she entered the living room. Marcus sat in his leather chair, a glass of scotch in his hand. At 45, he was handsome in a sharp. About him was precise, his tailored suit, his perfectly styled silver-gray hair, the way he watched her with eyes that never quite smiled. Working, or talking to that photographer? Marcus asked, swirling his drink. Isabelle felt ice slide down her spine. Adrien Moreau? He's just an artist I'm featuring. I know who he is. Marcus stood up, moving toward her with measured steps. I know everything, Isabelle. That's what love is. Knowing everything about the person you cherish. He reached out and tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. The gesture would have looked tender to anyone watching, but Isabelle felt the possession in it, the warning. I saw you laughing with him today, Marcus continued. Through the gallery window. You looked happy. I was discussing his work. You never laugh like that with me anymore. His hand moved to her throat, not squeezing, just resting there. Why is that, Isabelle? The discovery. That night, Isabelle couldn't sleep. Marcus lay beside her, his breathing even and controlled even in sleep. She stared at the ceiling, feeling the walls of their bedroom close in. At 2 a.m., she slipped out of bed. Marcus didn't stir. She moved through the penthouse, her bare feet silent on the cold floors. She didn't know what she was looking for until she found it. Marcus's study was always locked, but tonight, he'd been careless. Or perhaps he wanted her to find it. She pushed the door open and stepped inside. The room was lined with monitors. 6 screens, all dark now, but as Isabelle moved closer, motion sensors triggered them to life. Her blood turned to ice. She was looking at herself. Multiple angles of the gallery, her office, the main floor, even the private viewing room. Another screen showed their bedroom. Another showed the bathroom. The penthouse lobby. Her car. Isabelle's hand flew to her mouth, swallowing a scream. How long? How long had he been watching her like this? She stumbled backward and knocked into Marcus's desk. Papers. Scattered, and among them, a folder caught her eye. It had her name written on the tab, but not just her married name, her maiden name. Laurent. With shaking hands, Isabelle opened it. Inside were photographs, documents, emails. Her entire life before Marcus, catalogued and annotated in his precise handwriting. There were photos of her with her ex-boyfriend, Daniel. They'd been together for 3 years before she met Marcus. Daniel had broken up with her suddenly, cruelly, saying he'd found someone else. Isabel had been devastated. But here, in Marcus's notes, paid Daniel Rousseau €50,000 to end relationship with subject. Confirmed March 15, 2019. Subject. He'd called her subject. Isabel kept reading, her horror growing. There were documents about her father's company, Laurent and Associates, the architectural firm that had been in her family for 3 generations. It had collapsed suddenly 5 years ago, forcing her father into bankruptcy and an early grave from the stress. Except it hadn't been sudden at all. Marcus's notes detailed exactly how he'd orchestrated it. Sabotaged contracts. Spread rumors. Bought out investors. He'd destroyed her father's company deliberately, systematically. And then he'd appeared in her life like a savior. Offered to invest in her dream of opening an art gallery. Swept her off her feet with his wealth and attention. Married her within 6 months. I see you found my love letters. The confrontation. Isabel spun around. Marcus stood in the doorway, wearing his silk pajamas, looking completely calm. You killed him, Isabel whispered. My father. The stress of losing everything, it killed him. And you did it. Marcus walked into the room, closing the door behind him. I freed you, Isabel. Your father wanted you to take over his failing company. You would have spent your life buried in debt and mediocrity. I gave you everything. You took everything. Isabel's voice rose, years of suffocated emotion breaking free. You destroy my family. You bought off Daniel. You've been watching me, controlling me. Protecting you, Marcus corrected, his voice hard. Do you know how many men look at you? How many would take advantage of you? I keep you safe. I keep you perfect. I'm not your possession. Marcus moved fast, grabbing her wrist, pulling her close. Yes, you are. I built you. This gallery, your reputation, your life, it's all mine. And you will stay with me, Isabel, because if you try to leave, I will destroy you the way I destroyed your father. Do you understand? Isabel stared into his eyes and finally saw the truth she'd been avoiding for 3 years. Marcus didn't love her. He collected her. She was another acquisition, another thing he owned and controlled. I understand, she whispered. Marcus smiled, releasing her. Good. Now come back to bed. We have the charity gala this weekend, and I need you looking perfect. The photographer's secret. The next morning, Isabel went to the gallery like nothing had happened. She smiled at clients, discussed art, played her role. But inside, her mind was racing. Adrien Moreau arrived at noon to discuss his exhibition. He was different from the men in Marcus's circle, younger, maybe 35, with paint-stained fingers and genuine warmth in his dark eyes. Mrs. Bellamy, are you all right? Adrien asked as they reviewed his photographs in her office. You seem distracted. Isabel forced a smile. I'm fine. Just tired. Adrien studied her for a long moment. Then he reached into his bag and pulled out a photograph. It wasn't part of his exhibition. It showed a young woman, beautiful, with auburn hair and terrified eyes. This is my sister, Claire, Adrien said quietly. Was my sister. She killed herself 2 years ago. Isabel's breath caught. I'm so sorry. She was married to a wealthy businessman. He seemed perfect. But he wasn't. He controlled everything, where she went, who she saw, what she wore. He had cameras everywhere. When she tried to leave, he threatened to destroy her, to have her declared mentally unstable and institutionalized. Adrien's hands trembled as he put the photo away. She couldn't find a way out. So she jumped from their balcony. The police ruled it suicide, but I know the truth. He pushed her to it. Why are you telling me this? Isabel whispered, though she already knew. Because I've been watching Marcus Bellamy for 2 years, Adrian said, meeting her eyes. And I've seen how he looks at you. The same way he looked at Claire. Isabel's world tilted. Your sister was married to Marcus? Before you. She was his second wife. His first wife also died under mysterious circumstances, a car accident. The police never found anything, but I know Marcus was involved. Adrian leaned forward. Isabel, you're in danger. And I think you know it. The plan begins. That night, Isabel went home and played the perfect wife. She smiled at Marcus over dinner, laughed at his stories, let him believe she'd accepted her cage. But when he fell asleep, she lay awake, planning. Adrian had given her his private number. He'd told her he'd been collecting evidence against Marcus for 2 years, but he needed someone on the inside. Someone Marcus trusted. Isabel stared at the ceiling, thinking of her father. Thinking of Daniel and the life she might have had. Thinking of Claire, the woman who'd worn her ring before her, who'd slept in this bed and stared at this same ceiling before she'd decided death was the only escape. But Isabel wasn't Claire. And she wasn't going to die in this golden cage. She was going to burn it down. With Marcus inside. Part 2, Shattered Illusions. The investigation. Over the next 2 weeks, Isabel became a spy in her own home. Every morning, she kissed Marcus goodbye and went to the gallery. Every afternoon, she met secretly with Adrian in a small cafe far from the places Marcus had under surveillance. Adrian had been thorough. He showed her years of research. Financial records, testimonies from Marcus's former employees, even statements from women who'd briefly dated Marcus before Claire. He has a pattern, Adrian explained, spreading documents across the cafe table. He finds vulnerable women, usually after some personal tragedy. He offers salvation, sweeps them off their feet, then slowly isolates them. By the time they realize what's happening, they're completely trapped. Isabel traced the timeline of Marcus's marriages. First wife, Diane, died in a car accident after 3 years. Second wife, Claire, suicide after 2 years. And now Isabel, married for 3 years. I'm on borrowed time, she whispered. Not if we expose him first. Adrian pulled out a laptop. Marcus isn't just a controlling husband. His entire business empire is built on fraud, extortion, and manipulation. He's destroyed dozens of companies, ruined hundreds of lives. If we can prove it, he goes to prison. But how? He's too careful. He's always 3 steps ahead. Adrian smiled grimly. Because he has someone on the inside helping him. His head of security, Viktor Petrov. Former Russian intelligence. Viktor handles all of Marcus's surveillance, his threats, his dirty work. If we can get to Viktor, we get everything, Isabel finished. The facade crumbles. Playing the perfect wife became harder every day. Marcus's control tightened like a noose. He started coming home early from work, wanting to know every detail of her day. He questioned her about clients, about Sophie, about the time she spent alone in her office. You seem distant, Marcus said one evening, watching her over dinner. Is something wrong? No, nothing. Isabel kept her voice light. I'm just stressed about the upcoming exhibition. Adrian Moreau's exhibition. Marcus set down his fork. I've decided to pull my sponsorship. Isabel's heart stopped. What? Why? I don't like him. There's something about the way he looks at you. Marcus's eyes went cold. Cancel the. I don't like him. There's something about the way he looks at you. Marcus's eyes went cold. Cancel the exhibition, Isabel. But the invitations are already sent, the collectors are expecting. I said cancel it. Marcus's voice didn't rise, but the threat was clear. This was a test. Isabel knew if she pushed back, Marcus would know something was wrong. But if she agreed, she'd lose her connection to Adrian, her only ally. "All right," she said softly, lowering her eyes. "I'll cancel it tomorrow." Marcus smiled, satisfied. "Good girl. I knew you'd understand." That night, lying beside Marcus, Isabel sent a single text to Adrian from the phone he'd given her, a burner phone she kept hidden in a false bottom of her makeup case. "He knows. Be careful." The failed escape. 3 days later, Isabel made her first attempt to leave. Adrian had arranged everything: a safe house in Marseille, new identity documents, money in an offshore account. "We'll get you out, then we'll bring him down," Adrian had promised. "Once you're safe, we expose everything." The plan was simple. Marcus had a business trip to London. He'd be gone for 2 days. Isabel would pack light, take only essentials, and disappear. But when Marcus left for the airport that morning, he kissed her goodbye and said, "I'll miss you, darling. Victor will keep you company while I'm gone." Isabel's blood ran cold. Victor Petrov materialized in their penthouse an hour later, 6'4", built like a wall, with dead eyes that saw everything. "Mr. Bellamy asked me to ensure you're safe while he's away," Victor said in his thick Russian accent. "I'll be staying in the guest room." Isabel was a prisoner in her own home. She couldn't go to the gallery, Victor accompanied her. She couldn't use her phone, he watched her constantly. She couldn't even use the bathroom without him standing outside the door. On the second day, while Victor was making coffee, Isabel tried to run. She made it to the elevator before Victor's hand closed around her arm. "Mrs. Bellamy," he said quietly, "Mr. Bellamy would be very disappointed if you left." The threat in those words was absolute. Isabel stopped struggling. The truth about the drugs. When Marcus returned from London, he was furious. Victor must have told him about her attempted escape because that night, everything changed. "You tried to leave me," Marcus said, his voice dangerously soft. "No, I just needed air." Marcus backhanded her across the face. Isabel fell to the floor, tasting blood. "Don't lie to me." Marcus grabbed her hair, yanking her head back. "I gave you everything. And you tried to leave." "Marcus, please. You need to remember who you belong to." Marcus pulled a small pill bottle from his pocket. "These will help you." Isabel stared at the pills in horror. "What are those?" "Something to help you relax. To help you be the wife you're supposed to be." Marcus grabbed her jaw, forcing her mouth open. "Take them, Isabel." She fought, but Marcus was stronger. He forced the pills down her throat, held her mouth closed until she swallowed. "Good girl," he whispered, releasing her. "These will help you forget all these silly ideas about leaving. You'll see. In a few weeks, you'll be perfect again." Over the next week, Isabel existed in a fog. The pills Marcus gave her made everything distant, dreamlike. She went to the gallery but couldn't focus. Sophie had to handle everything. But some part of Isabel, deep inside, stayed aware. She started hiding the pills under her tongue, spitting them out when Marcus wasn't looking. Slowly, the fog lifted. And she remembered Adrian's words, "We need evidence. Real, undeniable evidence." Adrian's revelation. Isabel managed to send Adrian a message, "Meet me at gallery. Midnight. Use back entrance." When Adrian arrived, Isabel could barely stand. She hadn't slept properly in days, terrified that Marcus would discover she wasn't taking the pills. "What did he do to you?" Adrian's face went pale when he saw her bruised face, her hollow eyes. "He's drugging me. Some kind of sedative. To make me compliant." Isabel grabbed Adrian's arm. "I found the pills. I took photos. It's evidence. We need more than that." Adrian pulled out his phone, showing her a message. But I got this yesterday. It's from someone inside Marcus's company. Someone who wants to help. The message read, I know what Bellamy did to your sister. I have proof. But I need protection before I can come forward. Meet me alone. It has to be Victor, Isabel said. He knows everything. He's done everything for Marcus. If he's willing to talk. It could be a trap, Adrian warned. Or it could be our only chance. Isabel met his eyes. We have to try. The trap springs. The meeting was set for the next night at an abandoned warehouse near the docks. Adrian insisted on going alone, but Isabel refused. If it's really Victor, he'll want to see me. I'm the one Marcus is hurting now. I'm his motivation to finally speak up. They arrived at the warehouse at midnight. The building was dark, empty. Adrian had his phone ready to record everything. Victor? Isabel called out. Are you here? A figure emerged from the shadows. But it wasn't Victor. It was Marcus. Did you really think I wouldn't know? Marcus asked, walking toward them. Behind him, Victor appeared, along with two other men. Did you think I haven't been watching every move you make? Adrian stepped in front of Isabel. Stay away from her. Marcus laughed. How noble. Just like you were noble trying to avenge your sister. But Claire was weak, Adrian. She couldn't handle perfection. And now you're trying to poison my wife against me. Your wife is a prisoner, Adrian said. And we have evidence. Financial crimes, fraud, everything. Evidence? Marcus smiled. You mean the evidence on that laptop? The one I know you've been keeping? The one Victor destroyed this morning when he broke into your apartment? Adrian's face went white. No. Or perhaps you mean the statements from my former employees? The ones I've already paid off or scared into silence? Or maybe you mean that burner phone you gave Isabel? Marcus pulled out Isabel's secret phone. Found it yesterday. I've been reading all your messages. Planning your little escape to Marseille. Very romantic. Isabel felt the world collapse. They had nothing. Marcus had been 5 steps ahead the entire time. Take Adrian to the car, Marcus ordered Victor. I'll deal with him later. No. Isabel screamed, but Victor's men grabbed Adrian, dragging him away. And you, Marcus turned to Isabel, his face cold with rage, you're coming home. And this time, I'm going to make sure you never try to leave again. The final prison. Marcus drove Isabel back to the penthouse in silence. When they arrived, he grabbed her arm and dragged her through the apartment to the bedroom. You forced my hand, Isabel, Marcus said, pulling out a thick leather strap. I didn't want to do this, but you've left me no choice. Marcus, please. He tied her to the bed. Not cruelly, but securely. Then he went to his safe and pulled out more pills. These are stronger than what I was giving you before, Marcus explained calmly, as if discussing the weather. They'll keep you calm. Keep you docile. In a few months, you won't even remember why you wanted to leave. Someone will notice, Isabel said desperately. Sophie, the gallery clients. You're having a nervous breakdown, Marcus said. Very sad. The stress of running the gallery became too much. You'll need to rest at our country estate for a while. Victor will take care of everything. He forced the pill into her mouth, made her swallow. Then another. And another. By the time anyone sees you again, you'll be exactly what you're supposed to be, Marcus whispered, stroking her hair. My perfect, obedient wife. As the drugs took hold, Isabel's last conscious thought was of Adrian. Was he still alive? Or had Marcus already killed him, like he'd killed Claire, like he'd killed Diane? The room faded to gray, then to black. And Isabel disappeared into the darkness of Marcus's perfect love. Part 3, Beautiful Revenge. The Awakening. Isabel woke in a room she didn't recognize. Not the penthouse. Somewhere else. The walls were pale yellow, soft morning light filtering through curtains. She tried to move and realized she wasn't restrained. Confused, she sat up. Her head felt clearer than it had in weeks. How long had she been unconscious? The door opened. A woman entered, middle-aged, kind-faced, wearing nurse's scrubs. "Good morning, Mrs. Bellamy," the woman said warmly. "I'm Nurse Chen. How are you feeling?" "Where am I?" Isabel's voice was hoarse. "The Bellamy estate, about an hour outside Paris. Your husband brought you here 2 weeks ago. You've been very ill." 2 weeks. Isabel's heart raced. "I need to leave. The doctor wants to examine you first. You've been through quite an ordeal." Nurse Chen's smile didn't quite reach her eyes. "Your husband has been so worried about you." Isabel understood immediately. This was another cage. Prettier than the penthouse, but still a prison. Marcus had her locked away where no one would find her, with staff paid to keep her here. But something had changed. She felt clear-headed. Why weren't the drugs working anymore? The unexpected ally. That night, Nurse Chen returned with dinner and medication. Isabel prepared to fight, but Nurse Chen did something unexpected. She set the pills aside and locked the door behind her. "Don't take these," Nurse Chen whispered urgently. "I've been replacing them with vitamins for the past week." Isabel stared at her. "What? Why?" "Because I know what your husband is." Nurse Chen's hands shook. "My sister worked for Marcus Bellamy 8 years ago. She was his assistant. When she discovered his illegal activities and threatened to go to the police, he had her killed. Made it look like a robbery." "Then why work for him?" "Because I've been waiting for a chance to destroy him." "And you're that chance." Nurse Chen pulled out a small recording device. "I've been recording everything, his conversations with Victor, his phone calls, his instructions about keeping you drugged and imprisoned. It's all here." Isabel's mind raced. "Adrian. The photographer. Do you know what happened to him?" "He's alive. Marcus has him locked in the wine cellar. He's been torturing him for information about what evidence you two collected." Horror washed over Isabel. "I have to help him." "We will. But not yet. If we move too soon, Marcus will kill us all and make it disappear." Nurse Chen gripped Isabel's shoulders. "You need to keep pretending the drugs are working. Play the broken, obedient wife. Make Marcus think he's won. Meanwhile, I'll keep recording. When we have enough, we'll strike." Playing the role. For the next 3 weeks, Isabel became an actress. When Marcus visited, she was docile, compliant, speaking in a soft, dreamy voice. She let him touch her hair, hold her hand, and talk about their future. "You're doing so much better," Marcus said one afternoon, sitting beside her bed. "Soon we can go back to Paris. Back to our life." "I'm sorry I tried to leave," Isabel whispered, forcing tears. "I don't know what was wrong with me." "It wasn't your fault, darling. Some women just can't handle freedom. They need guidance. They need to be protected from their own impulses." Marcus kissed her forehead. "But I'll always protect you. That's what love is." Isabel wanted to scream, to claw his eyes out, but she smiled weakly instead. "Thank you for taking care of me." At night, when Marcus was gone, Isabel worked with Nurse Chen. They listened to the recordings, hours of Marcus discussing his crimes with Victor, planning how to dispose of Adrian's body, explaining to his lawyers how to cover up Isabel's breakdown. "We have enough to put him away for life," Nurse Chen said. "But we need to get you and Adrian out safely first." "What about the evidence Adrian collected?" Isabel asked. "Marcus said he destroyed it." Nurse Chen smiled. "Your photographer friend is smarter than Marcus realized. He kept backups. Everything's in a cloud server, password protected. We just need Adrian alive to access it." The rescue. They planned Adrian's rescue for a night when Marcus would be in Berlin for business. Victor would be with him, leaving only 2 guards at the estate. Nurse Chen had been slowly drugging the guards' coffee for weeks, building up their tolerance. Then one night, she gave them a massive dose. Both men collapsed within an hour. Isabel and Nurse Chen moved through the dark estate. The wine cellar was underground, behind a locked steel door. Nurse Chen had stolen the key from Victor's office. When they opened the door, the smell hit them first: blood, sweat, fear. Adrian was chained to the wall, barely conscious. His face was swollen with bruises, his shirt soaked with blood. Adrian, Isabel whispered, rushing to him. "Oh God, what did they do to you?" Adrian's eyes focused on her. "Isabel?" His voice was weak. "You're alive." "I thought." "I'm here. We're getting you out." Isabel found the keys to his chains while Nurse Chen stood guard. "Can you walk?" "I'll crawl if I have to." Adrian stumbled as the chains released, and Isabel caught him. "Claire," he murmured, confused. "Claire, is that you?" "It's Isabel." "Stay with me, Adrian." They got Adrian to Nurse Chen's car, hidden behind the estate. As they drove away, Isabel looked back at the prison that had held her. She wasn't free yet. Marcus would come for her. He would hunt her to the ends of the earth. Unless she struck first. The counterattack. They took Adrian to a private doctor Nurse Chen trusted, a man who'd also been hurt by Marcus's business dealings. While Adrian recovered, Isabel and Nurse Chen compiled everything they had: recordings, financial documents, testimony from former employees who Nurse Chen had secretly contacted. "It's not enough," Isabel said, staring at the evidence spread across the table. "Marcus has lawyers, politicians, judges in his pocket. He'll find a way out." "Then we need to make it public," Nurse Chen suggested. "Release everything to the media." "He can't bribe everyone." "No," Adrian said, sitting up painfully. "If we go public, he'll know we're coming. He'll disappear, move his money offshore, and vanish. We need to destroy him completely. His business, his reputation, his freedom. All at once." Isabel understood. The charity gala. Every year, Marcus hosted a massive charity event at the Grand Palais. Every important person in Paris attended: politicians, celebrities, business leaders, media. It was where Marcus performed his greatest role, the generous philanthropist. "It's in 2 weeks," Adrian said. "Everyone will be there. If we expose him then, in front of everyone, he'll have nowhere to hide." The setup. Planning the takedown required precision. Adrian accessed his cloud backups, pulling years of evidence. Nurse Chen contacted every person Marcus had ever hurt, convincing them to come forward. Isabel used her gallery connections to arrange for certain journalists to attend the gala. But the most important element was Isabel herself. She needed to go back to Marcus, convince him she was still his broken doll. "It's too dangerous," Adrian protested when she explained the plan. "If he suspects anything." "He won't," Isabel said firmly. "Because he believes he's already won. His ego won't let him see the truth." She called Marcus from a burner phone. "Please," she sobbed, "I need to come home. It's too quiet here. I miss you." Marcus arrived within hours. When he saw Isabel, fragile, tearful, reaching for him, his smile was victorious. "I knew you'd come back to me," Marcus said, holding her. "You'll always come back."